Hi everyone, welcome back to this podcast because I have actually renamed the podcast to something different. Now that we're restarting on YouTube and no longer posting on Spotify or anything like that, I will be renaming the podcast. So the podcast is called Messages from Spirit with Ananda Cait. And it's just more in alignment with what I am actually offering. It used to be called the Live Big Podcast. So if you still want to listen to the episodes before this, you can always go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts to find episodes all the way back dating to 2018. So lots of different episodes there. But I'm updating it and just feeling a little bit more in alignment with what I'm offering you guys. So thank you for coming back. And today we're going to begin by actually just lighting some Palo Santo and amplifying some of the energy in our space. So if you haven't used Palo Santo before, this is a tree from South America, type of wood that comes from South America, and I ethically source my Palo Santo from Ecuador, from trees that have fallen down in lightning storms, or they are just uprooted. So let's start to light our Palo Santo, and usually I use this to amplify energy, whereas anything like a sage would just clear and cleanse energy, which means it's bringing high vibration down and low vibration up. Palo Santo is bringing high vibration up. Some for your space as well. Thank you for being here. I hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful day so far, and if you haven't, don't worry, there's always time to restart and just choose again and come back to love. And one of my mentors that I've worked with, Gabby Bernstein, always says it's not about being in the energy of love all the time. It's about how quickly we can come back to the essence of love. And the more we strengthen that muscle within us of being able to love and being able to be kind, the quicker we can come back to it, because it's a stronger muscle than fear. It's a stronger muscle than negativity, pessimism, or fear. So we get to come back a lot quicker. And just by being here, having the intention to set your day straight every single time, in this way where we can have like a really strong foundation. You're already strengthening that muscle just by having the intention. So thank you for being here today. Let's begin. Today we're going to dive into another book called The High Priestess. And so this book works more with the essence of the High Priestess in the Tarot and talks about the symbolism and the history behind the High Priestess, where she originated from the Tao, which is, the most ancient scripture we know of, spiritual scripture that we know of, and where her symbolism originated and what it means. So there's a lot of historical information in here, but it's also about how to embody that symbolism as well. So if you're looking to work with the High Priestess essence, which is more of your subconscious, intuition, your emotional waters, which ultimately is the inner child, what trauma we're holding in our subconscious, to understand ourselves better, and ultimately to trust ourselves more and trust our intuition more. So it's really about strengthening your own intuition so that you're not really reaching out to other people for answers, or you're not feeling codependent in your life. There's a lot more to it. There's a whole book on it, so you can have a look at it. I wrote this 2 years ago, and you can find it in my Etsy shop as well, which I'll link below. But today I would like to, there's some prayer poetry in here as well, so I'm going to do a bibliotext spell today to see which message comes through from specifically this High Priestess energy. So you can just take a deep breath, close your eyes. Let's dive in. What message do you have for us today, High Priestess? Okay, so there's a short message today on page 77, a High Priestess message. When you accept who you are, you have nothing to prove. This is the path of self-actualization. So I'll read that again. When you accept who you are, you have nothing to prove. This is the path of self-actualization. This is a short message, but it really comes down to a powerful message, which is when we're moving through our life, especially the first half of our life, we generally are moved from a place of ego and generally are moved from a place where we're trying to prove something to the world, prove something to ourselves, prove something to the people around us, mainly the people from our past or our parents, our family, right? Like, I'll show you what I can do. I'll show you how successful I can become. Usually that's what moves the ego, is to prove something to other people. That's where fame comes from. That's where the need for attention comes from, right? Is to prove something to yourself, like, oh, I'm of value, I'm worthy because I'm gaining attention, I'm gaining popularity, or I'm gaining money, or whatever it is you're trying to accumulate, right? Well, where does that need come from? And that's what the High Priestess is asking, okay? Where does that stem from or root from for you, do you think? In terms of wanting to be accepted, wanting to have approval, or wanting even just to be successful. Like, what does success mean for you right now? What are your beliefs around success and approval in your life? Because this will tell us a lot about how we were raised and the belief system that we still have within that. And when we look at those roots of how we were raised and what is actually in our subconscious to tell us, okay, I'm not worthy unless I have recognition, right? Or unless people see me being successful. That is a belief that I have for some reason. It could be stemming from like a parent that didn't give you enough attention, or was kind of emotionally unstable or emotionally not present. Or it could stem from actual emotional abuse. Like, there are many reasons why we feel the way we do, and it ultimately dictates our actions currently. So it's about unwinding. And when you accept who you are, you have nothing to prove, right? So it's about, we want to work towards how do I accept who I am fully and completely? Like, first of all, who am I? What do I like in my life? What is it? How do I want my life to be? Because I'm the artist of my life. What do I want it to look like? It could look like anything. Like, I can switch timelines at any time, which means I can switch the way I live my life at any time. I could do a 180 degree shift. I could do a 5 degree shift. I could do a 50 degree shift. It just depends on what I want to do. You are the oracle. You are your own magician. So what is it that you want? And then decide if you are capable of fully and completely honoring that and accepting that. So when you accept who you are, you have nothing to prove, because you're living your life from your most authentic space. And we can go in and out of this, right? Like, we can go into, sometimes we're just living from a place of complete authenticity and we don't care what anybody else thinks. And then we can kind of shift back to, if I do that, what will people think? You know, I feel weird. I don't want to do that because I don't want anybody to be judging me or not accepting me or asking me questions about this. We can get into that discomfort as well. But we see that the most successful and most authentic people in walking this earth are people that accept themselves fully and completely and really don't give a blank fuck about what they do or what you think of them, right? Now most, like, I'm not talking about doing things that are harmful, right? Like, obviously this is all about moving from a place of good intention, but it's really difficult. Like, if you actually think throughout your day, like how many times you make a decision based on what other people will think of you, you would be very, very surprised. Those choices could even come down to those very minuscule choices, right? Anywhere from, you know, ordering a specific type of coffee, going to Starbucks, not going to Starbucks, using a reusable cup versus not using a reusable cup, because what will people think if I do that? What will people think if I use a plastic straw? What will people think if I drive a certain car? What will people think if I quit my job all the way to leaving my relationship? What will people think? And we actually create our own level of a prison based on our belief system. We create our own sense of liberation and our own sense of our inner emotional prison and outer reality of a prison based on our belief system. So the question becomes, what is your belief system around self-acceptance and what people think of you? And try not to demonize it or judge yourself around. Just be curious. Be curious about what you believe in. And when we can be curious about that and start to look at it and write it down, then we can start to kind of unwind and unravel and really study what specific beliefs we have and how we can choose again. And so if you take this information, you take this advice forward, you can really start to become the high priestess of your world, right? Whereas this beautiful essence sitting on her throne saying, no, I know who I am. I know what I like. I know my opinions. I know that I have darkness within me, but guess what? I know what it is, and I know where it stems from, and I know exactly why I express myself the way that I do. It doesn't make it right, but I know it and I own it, and I know how to change it, and I know how to choose again. And I also know the decisions that are right for me, not for you. And you don't know the best decisions for me, right? Because you don't live in my body. You haven't lived my experience day to day, second to second to second, right? I'm the one that lives my experience every single second of every single day. Nobody knows my experience better than I do, right? Only me and God. Only me and the universe know that experience in a very specific way. And so anybody who judges me or tries to place their opinions upon me, it's coming from their projection and their perceptions and their belief systems about life in general. It has nothing to do with me. Now remember, everybody is seeing you and viewing you and observing you as if we're watching a reality show, right? And we all love to have opinions about people on reality TV. So everybody loves to have opinions and everybody loves to give advice. Does it mean it's the best advice? Does it mean it's the correct opinion? Absolutely not, right? We know who we are. But a lot of us are disconnected from our intuition, and we actually don't trust ourselves enough, because from where we were, even when we went to school as children in grade school, We were told that we didn't know right from wrong. We were taught how to act. We were told what to do. We were told where to put things. Put that over there. Oh, you should act that way. Oh, you should be a good girl. Be kind. Don't act out. Don't tell people what you actually think. Use communication like this. Act like a lady. Do this. Do that. Don't get tattoos. Don't do this. Right? Don't smoke. Don't do a lot of things. There's a lot of don'ts. Right? Now, does that usually come from a place of love? Yeah, it does. It as a parent or as a teacher, as someone who's trying to protect children, it comes from a place of we're trying to, teach you about life, right? But remember that those teachings are all based on past experience, and they're there to allow you to survive, ultimately. But spirit and this type of messaging from spirit is teaching us how to thrive. And the only way we can thrive is by not being in survival mode all the time. Being in survival mode means you're in a fear-based energy because you believe that there are things to protect yourself from all the time. And also that you might be thinking, oh, well, what if this doesn't go my way? Or what if this goes wrong? Or I'm not safe doing this, or people won't like me if I do that. That's coming from a fear place. And that's not an abundant energy to create a life from. It has its place because we need to be able to protect ourselves sometimes and survive and function, right? But that's where it ends. That's where our intellect and our mind and our ego belong, is in that space of functioning, right? Where we know not to cross the road because a car is coming. So it has its place. But spirit wants us to remember that we also have the capacity to tap into the energy of thriving beyond our wildest imagination. But we have to be willing to go beyond the scope of what the bounds of our mind can imagine. We have to be able to be open to creative possibilities, which means possibilities that we can't even think of. Maybe something will come to you that isn't bound by your past experience or what you know of already. Because there are things, let's face it, there are things in this world that we just don't understand. People living their lives the way that we don't understand because we're not acquainted with that. We haven't experienced life that way. So being open to creative possibilities allows us to live our life from a higher place, which means a more observant place and a letting go, right? A letting go, a surrender to what the higher power ultimately is and how it can act within our life if we just let go of what our vision is in some capacity. Having the intention, having the goal, having the dream is important, but the way to get there needs to be surrendered to in some capacity. And the way to do that is to understand who you are and accept who you are, both light and dark sides, in order to not need so much from that dream. Because a lot of the reason why we don't manifest things or we cut ourselves off from that higher vision is because we want it done exactly how we think it should be done. And we believe that we need it now, right? We don't have patience as human beings most of the time. We want instant gratification. So we look for things to happen immediately, and we're not patient with divine timing. So it's important to let go of the need for the gratification of a dream or the end goal of a dream and go into the process of learning what that is all about. For instance, I've just, decided to switch timelines in my life and go into interior decorating and design. So I'm I'm not just going to switch into opening a business right away and starting to tell clients, oh, I know everything and I'm going to do everything. No, that's not how it goes, right? Like, I just finished my certificate. So it's all about the journey. I'm still so curious about learning. There's so much to learn. And in life, when we stop learning, we're dead. We're gone. It's over, you know. There's nothing. If there's nothing to learn, then why are you here? That the universe wants to learn. Constant learning and experiencing. So be open to learning, and be open to learning about yourself and how you interact with people, how you think about things, what your belief system is around acquiring things or needing acceptance or recognition from people, and not making decisions based on what other people will think. And start to challenge yourself to go into those places that feel uncomfortable, because that's where you're going to grow your garden. You don't want to stay in one patch of grass, you know. It's about expanding into other areas and growing. So the High Priestess is asking, what is it that you don't accept about yourself right now? And what is your need from others in very specific areas of your life? What do you believe about things? Is the current job that you have because you believe it's accepted in society to do that job? You know, is it because your parents tell you that's what you're supposed to do? Is it because you invested money into education that you feel like, oh, I need to use my degree or I need to use my diploma, otherwise it's a waste of money and people will be upset with me? There's so many intricate pockets to these belief systems. So take time to really sit with that and even write down, you know, okay, this is my life right now. This is my job. This is my relationship. These are my daily habits. And I do them because ABC, right? Because I believe it's the right thing to do, blah, 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 right? And remember, even people who have children, right? They raise their children in so many different ways. There's so many different ways to raise your children. Why have you chosen the specific way that you have chosen? Write that down, because just like any business, life has a mission statement for you as well. What is your mission statement in life? Why? The why factor. Why are you doing certain things? And I heard a statistic the other day that 85% of people in general, of the population, know they know what they're doing, right? They're very aware and capable of knowing what they're doing, but they don't know why they do it. They haven't taken the time to ask themselves why they do it. They do it because somebody else told them to do it. They do it because their whole family has done it for generations. Anything from their job to cooking a recipe the way that they cook it, right? Why do you do the things that you do? Like, that's what this energy is asking you, okay? Be more analytical about yourself, your self-study. And when you do that, you can unravel and be like a detective, look at those areas of your life that can change. And not just change to be a better person. That's not what it's about. It's about being a more authentic person, being more authentic and true to you, to your heart state. And your present life right now is just a reflection of your present heart state, right? You have manifested every single thing in your life right now. Where did it come from, right? It comes from your belief systems. So let's go into the High Priestess Oracle deck as well. And we'll get a little bit more insight into this message today. Ooh, okay, I love this. I just slammed that down. Okay, so this prayer poem comes from page 102 in the High Priestess Ritual book, but the prayer poem looks like this, and it is: the freedom to be me is how I shall harness her stars. I begin to know me dearly, and without me I shall die. I know me by heart, a steady star in her sky. It goes along with what we've been talking about completely. These channeled messages are so in alignment. Every time I get the card, I'm just like, of course. So the freedom to be me is how I shall harness her stars. I begin to know me dearly, and without me I shall die. I know me by heart, a steady star in her sky. So in order to harness the High Priestess energy within yourself, right? All depends on the freedom to be yourself. So create a life that allows you the freedom to be yourself. The freedom to be yourself. That's so beautiful. So here's the card again. And pomegranate symbolism is very abundant, but like a birthing, fertile, very fertile, like you're birthing, you have this ability to create something, and you're on the verge of creating something beautiful. The more you can understand who you are and be in that freedom to be who you are is how you will harness all of her stars, all of her possibilities, and get to know who you are. So I hope that gives you some insight into your intention for today and this week. And thank you so much for being here with me and the High Priestess. You can actually purchase the Oracle deck and the ritual book on Etsy. The link is in the description below if you'd like to work with this specific essence. And also comment below where you're joining us from, or any books, any ritual prayer poetry books that you want me to read from or share messages from. I do choose quite a few books. These are just the 2 books that I want to start with because they are the ones that I've written and channeled from these specific essences. So have a beautiful day, and I will see you next time.